Hi all, GabuX finally here with another demo video for My Little Investigations. I apologize profusely for the wait. I was not expecting it to take this long, but this update contains a lot of little things that really wouldn't have been appropriate to separate out into their own video. So instead you get the whole thing as one video. We've got quite a bit to get through, but before we begin, I'd just like to point out one thing, which is that at the suggestion of Not a Good Username 360 from Equestria Daily, who I'm pretty sure was joking, but nonetheless, I've rechristened this series as engine demos rather than gameplay videos. This is specifically to call out the fact that, once again, all of the content in this video is tentative and almost certainly will change between now and the final product. That's especially true of the story content in this particular video. I've purposefully squished everything together to show off all of the gameplay facets in a brief period of time. This video certainly contains elements of what the first case is likely to contain, but it is by no means representative of what the finished case will look like. So if it seems like things are moving way too quickly for a real game, that's why. So without further ado, let's get started. We'll start with an opening cutscene, which is basically just a series of dialogue and character movements that require no player input aside from paging through the dialogue. Okay, now that the cutscene's over, we have control of Twilight. I've opted to base the player's character's motions on Ace Attorney investigations rather than Ace Attorney, which means that you can move the character around the field rather than just getting a static background in which a non-player character might be featured. You can transition from one location to the next just by walking off the edge of the screen. You'll notice there are characters in the locations. If you want to talk to or interact with them, you can just click on them to start a character encounter. This pretty much looks the same as the last video, except for one extra menu item you might have noticed. More on that one later. Now, you've already seen the interaction with Apple Bloom, so in this video, let's go talk to Rarity a little bit instead. Now, we don't have any evidence to present in response to what Rarity's saying here. In the last video, this is where we stopped, but not anymore. Let's go looking for evidence, shall we? Now, in addition to characters, you can also interact with elements in the field as well. For example, quite a few things in the background here look interesting, so let's have a look at them. Now, as you can see, just like in Ace Attorney investigations, examining elements in the background can give you evidence that you can use. Now, there are also cases where you may need to give something in the background a closer look, in which case you can transition to a zoomed view, where you can more clearly see what's present, and click on things that you see there. So now that we've accumulated enough evidence, let's go look at that new item in Character Encounter menu. Yeah, that's right. Just like in Ace Attorney, you can present evidence for characters' consideration in the hopes of learning more about them. In this case, Rarity happens to know about the cape shred, so let's show her it. Now, this has done two things. It's updated the case shred evidence to indicate that Apple Bloom was the owner of it, and it's also given us a new piece of evidence indicating that Apple Bloom had Rarity fix her cape this morning. And if you're curious, if you present the wrong evidence, such that the character doesn't know anything about it, you get the classic Ace Attorney goofiness in response. Now, you might also have noticed this tab here at the bottom that says Evidence. Let's see what you can do here. In this screen, you can both look at the evidence that you have available, as well as combine two pieces of evidence together. If you combine two pieces of evidence together, this functions roughly similarly to the logic mechanism in Ace Attorney investigations. If you have two pieces of evidence that are logically related, such that you can combine them to make a deduction about something, you can do so here. For example, as a dead easy one, you've got a scooter that was found next to tire tracks. It's pretty clear what happened there, so let's combine those two pieces of evidence. Now, as you can see, this updated the tire tracks to reflect the fact that they're from the scooter, which you can see in its description. We can do this again, too. We've got short, white hair and a missing cat with, short, white hair. We can put those two together as well. Finally, now that both the tire tracks have been updated to say that they're from the scooter, and the hair has been updated to say that it's from Opal, we can put these two together as well to get a certain piece of evidence that we really need here. And guess what? This is exactly the evidence that we needed to poke a hole in Rarity's testimony that we just saw moments ago. So let's go back to it. And that's about all that I've got to show this time. Apologies again for taking so long in getting this video released. I ended up implementing an awful lot here. Hopefully the next one should not take quite so long. Until next time all, this is GabuX for My Little Investigations. Thanks for watching!